In the headlines, Atiku in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Federal Executive Council approves additional 129 billion naira for Ogoni cleanup. Kaduna residents raise alarm over invasion of community by fleeing bandits. And on the foreign scene, Israeli strikes on Gaza kills dozens as offensive enters third day. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has adjourned continuation of pre-hearing in a petition filed by presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, challenging the election of Bola Tinubu as president to May 18. Noel Samson reports that the presidential candidate was personally in court with other party chieftains.
The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, accompanied by some of PDP chieftains, were in court to watch the pre-hearing proceedings. Counsel for the PDP candidate, Chris Uche, SAN, told the court that the parties in the suit have harmonized their positions on constitutional and statutory issues and document to tender in the case.
As you could see, we've settled the issues and narrowed them down to very definite constitutional and statutory issues which we need the court to determine. We've also dealt with the issue of reconciliation and streamlining of documents. The parties have agreed to work together and report back by Tuesday on the documents so that tendering of documents will be seamlessly done. Then thirdly, which comes to this issue of the motions, you could see that we served the other parties the motion for the televising of the proceedings. They explained here that they are still in the process of filing their replies. Therefore, we could not proceed without their input. So we don't want to anticipate their response. That's why the matter and this motion and other motions have all been adjourned to Thursday next week. Definitely on Thursday, every party would have filed his replies, and then this motion, this very critical motion, which they admit is very fundamental, the hearing will take place on Thursday, the 18th day of May, 2023.
Meanwhile, Counsel for the Allied People's Movement, APM, who is also challenging the election of Bola Tinubu, Oluwafemi Aweda, said the party is not withdrawing its position.
In the merit of our case, and we intend to follow through to the end. We do not have any link or any relation with other parties that have withdrawn, and we are saying this with affirmatively and with all seriousness and of course with all responsibility that we do not have any intention of withdrawing our petition.
Action Alliance AA and Action People's Party APP have withdrawn their petitions from the court. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of 129.8 billion naira for various projects in the Niger Delta Ministry, especially for the Ogoni cleanup project. The senior special assistant to the president, Garba Shehu, said this after the FEC meeting chaired by the vice president, Yemi Osinbajo, on Wednesday. According to him, the money will be used for the second phase of the Ogoni water project and the central remediation of newly identified hydrocarbon impacted sites. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, assured Nigerians that ongoing projects in the country will not be abandoned by the incoming administration of Bola Tinubu. Residents of Kaduna villages have raised the alarm that bandits fleeing from military operations in Zamfara state are escaping to their areas to seek refuge in nearby forest. Villagers in remote communities along the Zamfara-Kaduna border towns have reported the sighting of the bandits. Resident Said Damari said that the bandits had been arriving at the nearby Kuduru forest since Tuesday. Another resident known as Shagari said that the bandits operating around the town have threatened to abduct any farmer found working in the farm. The police public relations officer in the state, DSP Mohammed Jalige, said that the command will protect the lives and property of the villagers. He added that the fleeing bandits will not be allowed to terrorize the villagers. Daily Trust reporter in Kaduna, Mohammed Yaba, gives an update on the situation.
Residents of Kaduna villages have raised the alarm that bandits fleeing from military operation in Zamfara State are escaping to their areas to seek refuge in nearby forests. The villagers in remote communities along Zamfara-Kaduna border towns are reported to have sighted the bandits who they said arrived the area yesterday. And they also claimed that the bandits, the well-armed bandits, arrived the community on their motorcycles, which made some of the villagers to run for their lives, thinking that the bandits were there to attack them. But fortunately, the bandits decided not to attack them, but rather move into the nearby forest that is named Kuduru Forest. That surround the area. Some of the villagers spoke with confirmed that they were all afraid seeing the bandits in their communities, and they also urged the security agencies and the state government to come to their rescue, because presently that most of these bandits threaten to abduct people and also they are trying to kind of deny them access to their farms. But the state police public relations officer Mohammed Jaligi, when contacted, confirmed that the state government and the security agencies are doing everything possible to ensure that nothing happened to these villagers.
Still staying with security matters, Anambra State Police Command has confirmed the death of a leader of a criminal gang, one Odumodu, who operates from Imo State into Anambra State, suspected to be members of Proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, and Eastern Security Network, ESN. He was killed on Wednesday alongside 4 gang members terrorizing Anambra State and Imo State by the Joint Security Forces in a village, Akwa Hedi, in Nnewi South, a border town between Imo and Anambra State. According to the Anambra State Commissioner for Police, CP Echeng, security operatives accosted the deadly gang of 5 operating on motorbikes suspected to be members of the Proscribed IPOB and ESN, now who were en route to Anambra for a planned operation. According to him, the operatives engaged the assailants, neutralized 5 of the gang members, and recovered 2 rocket launchers, 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 automatic pump action, 4 magazines, 8 live ammunition, police berets, charms, and other incriminating items. Residents of Zamfara State want the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to focus on addressing insecurity, poor standard of education, and poverty within the first 1 year in office. The residents believe that restoring security will boost socio-economic activities and bring about sustainable development. The report.
Zamfara State's residents have high expectations from the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal, which will take over from the current administration of Governor Bello Matawalle on the 29th of May 2023. Some residents of the states like Suleiman Abubakar and Bilyamin Muhammad have rolled out challenges which they want Dauda Lawal's administration to overcome. They listed insecurity, unemployment, poor standard of education, and poverty, among others.
We have some of our people were chased from their town because of insecurity. Some were killed, some were raped, some were kidnapped, some spent more than 5-6 months in bandit captivity. So we want the state incoming government to focus on this main issue, that is security challenge.
The residents are of the opinion that if employment is tackled, it will go a long way to reduce crimes and criminalities. Therefore, they employ the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to make concerted efforts to provide job opportunities for the teeming unemployed youths. Bilyamin Muhammad, who graduated in 2017 and has since completed his 1-year mandatory national youth service but has not found any job yet, is calling on Zamfara State Governor-elect to look into the plight of the unemployed youths in the state.
The state government to focus more on education and poverty alleviation and joblessness to the youth now. Let's say we have about 500,000 youths that are employed in the state. No job, And most of them are educated. Not to say they are not educated, they are educated, but they don't have jobs. The state government cannot offer jobs. I think the previous government is only does not employ people.
The incumbent state governor, Bello Matawalle, lost the 2023 governorship polls to the PDP candidate Dauda Lawal, who the residents now expect to provide solutions to their problems.
It is 50 years since the creation of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in May 1973. The scheme was introduced by the then military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, to foster unity and national integration after the Civil War in 1967. In the spirit of NYSC's Golden Jubilee, Ibrahim Ismail meets former corps members who settled in Gombe State after the one-year mandatory NYSC service. The report.
This is many we that won State Honors Award.
No. Aderinto Babajide is a graduate of Arts and Communication from Yaba College of Technology, Lagos. He was deployed to Gombe for the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in 1999, just 3 years after the state was created. After completing his service, Babajide was offered an automatic employment by the Gombe State government in the Ministry of Information. For the past 24 years, the 50-year-old has been running art and photography business in Gombe, a place he calls home.
It's good to thank Gombe too, because they accommodate us, they treat us like their own, they show love, and the magnitude of appreciation, at least for staying back, is enormous.
Sharing his experience with Trust TV on the occasion of the NYSC's Golden Jubilee, the Lagos-born artist said the Corps had changed his life for the better, stressing that it has been a driver for national integration.
And that's why you see that after the camp, many didn't grow from camp to be part of the society. But for some that listen attentively, you find out that integration is very easy. By and large, NYSC is a good scheme that needs to be maintained. At least for one thing, this unity, NYSC is promoting it better. Because I'm a Yoruba man, I marry an Igbo, staying in Hausa land. It's just a work of NYSC.
Just like Babajide, Bidia Yaro Dawakin Tofa is an ex-corps member from Kano State who was deployed to Gombe in 2017 for the national service. Since then, he has been working as a radio presenter.
I'm now working in Gombe, and this is all because of NYSC scheme. I'm opportune to be one of the NYSC members who immediately after their service, they got job, and recently, as you can see, my life has changed.
While reflecting on his service year in the NYSC 24 years ago, Babajide said there is indiscipline among the current corps members.
The corps doesn't see the NYSC staffs as their masters. It's not regimented any longer because the freedom is just too much. My only advice for the incoming corps members is be meek. It's not about your certificate. It's about what you got to offer.
For these two ex-corps members who found solace in the state after their service year, there is no better place to be than Gombe, a home away from home. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The federal government has received another set of 148 Nigerians that were stranded in Niamey, Niger Republic at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano State. The returnees arrived aboard a Sky Mali Airlines B737-400 operated by the Ethiopian Airlines Wednesday afternoon. Receiving the returnees, the National Emergency Management Agency said that they were brought back under the care of the International Organization for Migration from Niamey through a voluntary repatriation program. The coordinator of the NEMA Kano Territorial Office, Nuruddin Abdullahi, said that the program was meant for the distressed who had left the country to seek greener pastures in various European countries and could not afford to return when their journey became frustrated. The returnees from Lagos, Kano, Katsina, Jigawa and Kaduna, among other states, comprised of 94 males, 25 females and 29 children. The coordinator noted that the returnees will undergo a 3-day training on how to achieve self-sustainability and provided with seed capital to enable them to engage in productive ventures to be self-reliant. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how tradition withstands modern innovation. Details and more after the break.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
This November, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and unflinching excellence in the broadcast media. They have served and are still serving. It's time to say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON. For more details, log on to www.tnbawards.ng and follow our social media handles at TNB Awards.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust TV. Here's a look at the top stories again. Atiku in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Federal Executive Council approves additional 129 billion naira for Ogoni cleanup. Now, before the advent of modern orthopedic care, traditional bone setters were relied upon to remedy fracture or dislocation in most cities in northern Nigeria. Now, despite the revolution in modern medicine, the practice is still as effective and reliable as it used to be, but not without some challenges. In this special report, Trust TV correspondent Idris Debrin examines the practice of traditional bone setting in Kano State.
The practice of joint manipulation and treating fractures date back to ancient times and has roots in most countries. These early bone setters would treat fractures with wooden splints wrapped in bandages or made a cast around the injury out of a plaster-like mixture. Over the years, this practice has proven to be effective and reliable in the treatment of bone-related injuries. I have treated over 1,000 people, and I have reset the bones of over 1,000 people. You see, there are different types of fractures, but for us here, when you come with fracture with bones outside, it doesn't scare us. Dantala Ahmad in Kano has been in this practice for over 70 years. He inherited the practice from his parent and is now passing same to his children. All these are my children, and we are over 20 in this house. And believe me, there is no fracture that scares us. Everybody in this house can reset your bone. And whenever you bring it here, we will do our best to make sure that your leg or your hand or whatever, any part of your body that got dislocation, we reset it. Traditional bone setting is a type of a folk medicine in which these practitioners are engaged in joint manipulation. Before the advent of modern medicine, these bone setters were the main providers of this type of treatment. They practice without any formal training in accepted modern medicine procedures. They also reduce joint dislocations and reset bone fractures. You see, I don't have any formal education, but there are so many hospitals in this Kano that do ask me to go to their hospital and be practicing. But I refuse. I told them my father asked me to practice at home, because if I go to the hospital, somebody that's supposed to give me 5,000 naira, the hospital authorities will ask that person to pay 100,000. Since when I was a kid,
if they bring somebody with dislocation or fractures, our parent will ask us to watch and see how they are doing it. And gradually, we equally learned how to do it. And today, that is our main source of income.
Although the practice of traditional bone setting still exists among communities in northern Nigeria, but these people say the lack of attention by government authorities is threatening their age-long tradition, which would have otherwise reduced pressure on the overcrowded modern healthcare institutions.
You see, I do admit people here. Sometimes we keep people here. People will stay here for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, up to a year. When they recover, they will go home. But the problem is that we don't have enough facilities to be admitting people here.
As old as this practice, to date, people still troop into traditional bone setters for treatment and often regard it as the most reliable and less cost-effective compared to the modern orthopedic care. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Bauchi State chapter of the Labour Party has debunked some social media reports claiming that the party failed the recent bloody communal clash in Sang community of Bogoro local government area of the state. Addressing journalists at the party's secretariat, the embattled state chairman of the Labour Party in Bauchi, Hussaini Saraki, exonerated the party from the crisis which led to the killing of an elderly man with several houses set ablaze, while several people sustained various degrees of injuries. Saraki, who called all parties involved in the crisis to exercise restraint and allow security agencies to bring the perpetrators to justice, commended the state government for their effort and appealed for appropriate measures to prevent reoccurrence of such incidents.
Would like to distance itself and its presidential candidates from those politicizing the clash. It is unfortunate that some evil people are trying to link the crisis or the clash to the fact that Bogoro Tafawa and has voted for LP and not PDP, and hence the attack on them. The LP strongly condemns any form of violence and does not support or condone any action that threatens the peace and security of citizens.
Still in Bauchi, local farmers have decried the activities of committees responsible for the sale and distribution of seasonal fertilizer and appealed to the state government to review its distribution strategy to ensure food security in the state and the nation as a whole. They made their appeal in Azare during the flag-off of the annual 2023 farming season sales of fertilizer at affordable price by the state governor. Adamu Imam reports.
The state government has started the sale of fertilizer NPK at subsidized rate of 15,000 naira per bag to farmers as against the production cost of 17,800 naira. But some scale farmers in Azare Katagum local government area of the state are not comfortable with the activities of middlemen known as committee members whose activities they say are worrisome. They appeal to the state government to sell the commodity directly to the farmers. The price of fertilizer we experienced last year is not something to write home about. The sale and distribution. Also, somebody like me cannot afford to do farming, except if there is change and the commodity is made available to us. Government usually makes a lot of promises that the fertilizer will be available. We will, however, be shortchanged. Even with our money, we hardly get it. We always add something on top of government-approved price. So now we are praying for the governor to have a rethink on this matter. It is difficult to get the fertilizer most of the time. It could be recalled in the past. The sale of commodity is just like free of charge during Yuguda administration. And now, based on what we observe, this government can change this for the betterment of small-scale farmers in the state. However, the state governor, Bala Mohammed, during the launching, said his administration is making effort to diversify the economy of the state to ensure food security and ensure that the agricultural sector will continue to receive the priority it deserves. He also cautioned against planting in flood-prone areas to avoid falling victims of flooding in this year's farming season. Highlights of the occasion was the display of improved seeds and seedlings, as well as distribution of farm tools to teeming farmers across the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, on the foreign scene, Israel continued its airstrike on Gaza, killing at least 27 Palestinians, including several leaders of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. More than 70 people have been injured as the Israeli military offensive entered its third day. Now, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad announced that the death of Ali Ghali, commander of the group's rocket launch unit, in a pre-dawn strike carried out by Israeli forces in Khan Yunis. Reports say that a barrage of rocket fire has resumed from the Gaza Strip into the southern Israel following the burial of PIJ commander Ali Ghali. Gaza Strip is home to more than 2 million people, making it one of the most densely populated areas in the world, and it has been under an Israeli air, land and sea blockade since 2007. Meanwhile, the Norwegian Refugee Council has called for an immediate end to hostilities in the Gaza Strip. And in sports news, Burkina Faso forward Osman Kamara has been suspended for the side's quarter-final fixture against Golden Eaglets of Nigeria. Kamara was booked twice in the group stage and will sit out the last 8 fixture built for the Nelson Mandela Stadium, Algiers. The striker is the main star in the Burkina-based side. The youngster was top scorer at the Wafu B Under-17 Championship hosted by Ghana last year. He was also named the most valuable player at the competition. The winners of the West African Derby will join Senegal and Morocco in the semi-finals, as well as the 2023 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. And that's it for the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ida. Thanks for watching. Bye.